Imagine, just for a second, that your slightly off-key shower singing could get you fined, or that sharing your Netflix password was a federal crime. Sounds insane, right? Well, welcome to the United States. It's a nation so dedicated to the rule of law that it has, over centuries, created a masterpiece of legislative absurdity. We've scoured the nation to find the 50 most ridiculous, baffling, and downright hilarious things that can legally lighten your wallet. 1. The shouldn't be necessary statute. We begin in Alabama with a law that feels like a philosophical challenge. It is, and we must emphasize this, illegal to drive while blindfolded. This is not a metaphor. This is not a subtle critique of distracted driving. This is a specific prohibition against covering your eyes and operating a 2,000-pound death machine. One might assume this particular restriction would fall under the broad, unwritten social contract labeled "things you don't do if you wish to remain alive." But no. The state of Alabama felt the need to codify it. The truly chilling part isn't the law itself, it's the implication. It suggests that at some point in Alabama's history, enough people were doing this that a committee of lawmakers had to convene, draft, and pass a bill to specifically outlaw it. That thought, the image of a legislative debate over the merits of seeing the road, is infinitely more terrifying than the law itself. 2. The law of sudden gravitational testing. If Alabama's blindfolded driving law was the baseline for unnecessary legislation, Glendale, California holds the absolute pinnacle. In this city, it is specifically illegal to jump out of a car that is moving at 65 miles per hour. Let's pause to appreciate the specificity. Not 50, not a moving vehicle, 65. This isn't a vague statute against reckless behavior. It is a highly targeted prohibition against an act that is, by its very nature, its own immediate and catastrophic punishment. The law of physics tends to handle this one pretty definitively, but the Glendale City Council apparently felt compelled to put it in writing. This law exists as a formal documentation suggesting one of two terrifying possibilities. Either someone actually tried this, or the council was deeply, profoundly concerned that someone might. It's the ultimate bureaucratic just in case. 3. The Don't Poke the Bear for the Gram Act. In Alaska, lawmakers have been forced to legislate against a very specific, very modern brand of stupidity. It is illegal to wake a sleeping bear for the purpose of taking a photograph. This isn't just the folksy wisdom of don't poke the bear. It's don't poke the bear for the gram. The law specifically targets the tourist impulse to get that perfect, shareable wildlife shot, even if it means risking immediate dismemberment. The state of Alaska, a place built on rugged self-reliance, had to officially legislate against waking up a 1,000-pound killing machine. Because apparently, people needed to be told. It's a beautiful intersection of pure common sense and the absolute failure of natural selection in the digital age. 4. The No Lions in the Balcony Ordinance. There are laws born from caution, and then there are laws born from what must have been a very specific, very wild Tuesday. Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, where it is illegal to take a lion to the movie theater. This ordinance begs for a screenplay. It raises so many questions that the legal code frustratingly fails to answer. Did someone actually attempt this? Was the lion a paying customer? Did it share the popcorn or did it have its own? Was it a quiet viewer or did it roar during the trailers? We may never know the exact, surreal incident that prompted this rule, but we can all be profoundly grateful that it exists, protecting our cinematic experiences from the local menagerie. 5. The prohibition of narcolepsy in the presence of Curds. In South Dakota, it is illegal to fall asleep in a cheese factory. This is not just a strongly worded memo from HR. It is a full-fledged state law. The logic, to be fair, is perfectly sound. You absolutely do not want anyone face-planting into a giant swirling vat of cheddar, but it's the specificity that makes it art. It paints a vivid picture of a state so profoundly dedicated to its dairy production that it has legally outlawed narcolepsy in the presence of curds and whey. It's a clear testament to a core principle. In South Dakota, cheese never sleeps. And neither, by law, should you. 6. The dreams are not public property rule. In Eureka, California, the city has taken a hardline stance against public fatigue. It is against the law to fall asleep on a public street. The ordinance explicitly prohibits using the street, sidewalk, or public bench as a bed, meaning even a momentary nap could get you ticketed. Picture the scene. You're resting after a long walk. The breeze is perfect. The seagulls are calling. You close your eyes for just a second, and suddenly you are a criminal, breaking the law by momentarily drifting off. It's a harsh reality check for the weary. In Eureka, it seems, dreams are not considered public property. 7. The Don't Cause the Apocalypse Clause. Utah, in a bold move of legislative understatement, has made it illegal to cause a catastrophe. The law itself is wonderfully, terrifyingly vague. It defines a catastrophe as causing widespread injury or damage through explosion, fire, flood, avalanche, collapse of a building, or, most notably, other harmful or destructive force or substance. That little word, other, is doing some very heavy lifting. Did you clog all the toilets at a public stadium? You might have just caused a catastrophe. It's a law that sounds like it was written by a lawmaker who just wanted to cover all their bases, no matter how apocalyptic. It's the legal system's way of just saying, whatever you're planning, just don't. 8. The Criminalization of Winter. Welcome to Aspen, Colorado, where it is illegal to throw a snowball at a person or a building. This beloved winter pastime, the cornerstone of a proper snow day, is officially classified as a form of missile throwing. This legally puts a friendly snowball in the same category as launching a brick or a rock. Imagine the scene. A group of kids enjoying a wholesome, frosty battle, only to be interrupted by a stern officer writing them a ticket for deploying unauthorized frozen projectiles. It's a perfect example of bureaucratic overreach, a law that effectively sucks all the spontaneous joy out of a snowstorm. It kind of takes the fun out of a snow day, doesn't it? 9. The Tone-Deaf Caroler Act. Remember that hypothetical scenario about being fined for bad singing? In North Carolina, it's painfully real. An old city ordinance in an unspecified town states that it's against the law to utterly weird and unnatural noises or sing in a loud and boisterous manner on public streets. While it was clearly aimed at preventing general public disturbances, the phrasing is just wonderfully specific. It implies a world where tone-deaf carolers could be facing a fine. It suggests that your passionate, if pitch-challenged, rendition of Don't Stop Believin' could be interpreted as a criminal act. So the next time you're in the Tar Heel state, maybe just hum first. 10. The War on Dramatic Exits. In Derby, Kansas, it is a finable offense to screech your tires. The law specifically cites unnecessary squealing or screeching of tires as a misdemeanor. This isn't just about defiant teenagers doing donuts in a church parking lot. By a strict interpretation, even an accidental peel-out from a stoplight could technically land you a ticket. This ordinance is a direct, systematic assault on every movie hero's dream of making a dramatic exit. It's a law that demands composure at all times. In Derby, it seems, all getaways must be performed in a quiet, orderly, and deeply respectable manner. 11. The Acoustic Containment Act. Massachusetts law delves into the most intimate and resonant aspects of human cohabitation. It is illegal to snore, if it disturbs someone, unless all of your bedroom windows and doors are securely closed. This is not just a law against snoring. It's a law that regulates the architectural containment of your snoring. If you are a loud sleeper, the state of Massachusetts places the legal obligation on you to seal your room like a biohazard container. Your nocturnal rumblings must not become a matter of public disturbance. This is quite possibly the world's first piece of legislation that requires acoustic engineering for your sleep apnea. 12. The No Grooving on the Pier Edict. In South Carolina, you can forget that spontaneous dance party. It is illegal to hold a dance party at a public pier on a Sunday. This is a relic of the state's old blue laws, which were designed to enforce religious standards. While many have been repealed, the specific ban on Sunday pier dancing remains stubbornly on the books. You can stand on the pier. You can fish from the pier. You can stare wistfully at the ocean from the pier. But the absolute moment you start grooving to music, you are a criminal. It's a legally mandated buffer between you and your weekend fun. 13. The Fenway Decency Act. In Massachusetts, it is illegal for fans to swear at players during a sports game. This is a law that, if ever truly enforced, would leave Fenway Park completely and utterly silent. The statute specifically prohibits cursing at or taunting any player, coach, or official involved in an athletic contest. Just try to imagine a Red Sox-Yankees game where the entire crowd is forced to express its collective frustration with polite, G-rated language. "Oh, fiddlesticks, sir." That pitch was most certainly outside the strike zone. The very concept feels deeply, fundamentally un-American. 14. The festive outlaw deadline. In Maine, your laziness has a legal expiration date. Keeping your Christmas lights up past January 14th can get you fined. This isn't just a passive-aggressive complaint from your homeowners association. This is the law. In South Berwick, those twinkling reindeer and that slowly deflating Santa have a hard deadline. If you forget to take them down or simply can't be bothered, you are officially a festive outlaw. It's one of the few laws on the books that forces you to choose between your own profound laziness and your civic responsibility. It's a seasonal standoff with the state. 15. The pizza bombing prohibition. Louisiana has taken a firm, legislative stand against a very specific form of adolescent warfare. It is illegal to send a pizza to someone's house without their knowledge. This law is a direct response to a golden age of pranksterism. You cannot, under threat of law, pizza bomb an unsuspecting friend, a bitter foe, or that high school teacher who gave you a C. This practice apparently became such a widespread nuisance that the state had to step in and legislate against it. It's a sad day for pranksters, but a great day for anyone who doesn't want to deal with a very confused delivery driver and a dozen unwanted anchovy pizzas at 2 a.m. 16. The Gainesville chicken mandate. In Gainesville, Georgia, you are legally required to eat fried chicken with your hands. Using a fork and knife is strictly forbidden. This sounds like a municipal joke, but in 2009, a 91-year-old tourist was playfully arrested for violating this very ordinance. The law was originally passed in 1961 as a brilliant publicity stunt to promote Gainesville as the poultry capital of the world. And, quite frankly, it worked. Here we are, decades later, still talking about a town that takes its finger-licking chicken etiquette so seriously that it has become a matter of law. It's a rare case of a joke becoming a legacy. 17. The Great Wisconsin Butter War. In Wisconsin, it is illegal for a restaurant to serve you margarine instead of butter, unless you specifically ask for it. This is not a mere suggestion. This is America's dairyland defending its honor. The law is a fierce, tangible act of state pride. A legislative wall built to ensure that the integrity of Wisconsin's butter is never compromised by what the source calls a sneaky, oily imposter. If a restaurant dares to make the switch without your explicit consent, they could face actual fines. This isn't just about food preference, it's about identity. It's a level of commitment to dairy that you simply have to respect. 18. The Donut Multitasking Ban. This may be it. This may be the peak of legislative absurdity. In Marion, Oregon, you cannot walk backwards while eating a donut. There is no known backstory for this law. There was no tragic incident involving a reverse ambling pastry enthusiast. It is just a pure, uncut, inexplicable rule. What was the intent? Is it to prevent you from bumping into people? Is it a local war on multitasking? Or did a city council member just have a really, really weird dream and decide to inflict it on the rest of the populace? Whatever the reason, it stands as a perfect example of a law that serves no purpose other than to make you ask why. 19. The 50-pound romantic gesture. In Idaho, it is illegal to give your sweetheart a box of chocolates weighing less than 50 pounds. This is not a law, it's a challenge. A standard heart-shaped box of truffles isn't just a gift, it's a misdemeanor. This ordinance was reportedly passed as a joke during a legislative frivolity session in the early 20th century, likely to promote the state's sugar beet industry. While it was never meant to be seriously enforced, it remains a glorious testament to a time when lawmakers had a sense of humor and a deep, deep commitment to grand romantic gestures. In Idaho, I love you apparently weighs 50 pounds. 20. The case of the pickled trolley. In Rhode Island, it is illegal to throw pickle juice at a trolley. This is another one of those hyper-specific laws that just begs for a backstory. What happened here? Was there a serial pickle juice assailant terrorizing the public transit system of Providence? Was this a coordinated protest movement by disgruntled deli owners? Or was it just one very angry man with a grudge against a specific trolley conductor? We'll never know. But whatever the incident was, it was significant enough to warrant its own special, briny place in the state's legal code. 21. The Bathtub Donkey Debacle. In Arizona, it is illegal to let a donkey sleep in your bathtub. This law, which sounds like a surrealist painting, dates back to a specific 1920s case. A local rancher had a donkey that had grown accustomed to sleeping in an old, discarded tub on his property. One day, a local dam broke. The resulting flood picked up the tub, with the donkey still sleeping in it, and washed it several miles down the valley. The townspeople then had to spend a great deal of effort rescuing the very confused, very sleepy animal. To prevent such a ridiculous and resource-draining situation from ever happening again, they simply outlawed the precipitating event. You truly cannot make this stuff up. 22. The Sasquatch Protection Act. If you are hiking in the Pacific Northwest and happen to encounter a Sasquatch, you are legally prohibited from bothering it. In Washington, it is illegal to harass Bigfoot. This isn't a joke. An official ordinance from Skamania County designates the Bigfoot as an endangered species. This makes its harassment a gross misdemeanor, punishable by a fine and even potential jail time. So, if you see the big guy, be cool. The law implies no unsolicited photos, no asking for autographs, and definitely no trying to get a DNA sample. Just give him a respectful nod and be on your way. 23. The Great Arizona Camel Heist. It is illegal to hunt camels in Arizona. This law immediately prompts the question, wait, there are camels in Arizona? And the answer is, yes, sort of. In the 1850s, the U.S. Army imported camels for its Camel Corps, a failed experiment to transport goods across the desert. When the Civil War started, the project was abandoned, and the camels were simply released into the wild. For a while, feral camels roamed the Southwest, and this law was passed to protect them. The camels themselves are long gone now, but the law protecting them remains, a legislative ghost guarding a long-vanished population. 24. The Elephant Parking Meter Mandate. In Florida, it is illegal to park your elephant at a parking meter without paying. Yes, you read that correctly. If you happen to be traveling with an elephant in Sarasota, you are legally required to feed the meter just as you would for a Honda Civic. This utterly surreal ordinance stems from the city's history as the winter headquarters for the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. The circus would parade their elephants through town, and this law was the city's practical, if bizarre, way to regulate it. It's a beautiful glimpse into a time when the circus was such a big deal. Its pachyderms needed parking regulations. 25. The Anti-Ferret Hunting League. In West Virginia, it is illegal to hunt with a ferret. The law explicitly bans using ferrets to pursue, catch, or kill wildlife. This practice, known as ferreting, was once a common method for flushing rabbits out of burrows. But West Virginia has decided this is cheating. While dogs, guns, and bows are all perfectly fine, sending a member of the weasel family into a hole to do the hard work is, apparently, crossing a line of sporting ethics. It's a small but firm legislative stand against mustelid-assisted hunting. 26. The Bovine Personal Space Act. In Texas, it is illegal to milk another person's cow. This law feels like it was written by a cowboy who was just extremely fed up. This goes beyond simple theft of property. This isn't just about stealing milk. It's about the sheer audacity of walking onto someone's land and getting intimately familiar with their livestock. The fine, bafflingly, could be as low as $10. This seems like a remarkably small price to pay for such a brazen violation of bovine personal space. 27. The six-pack of blue ducks loophole. In Kentucky, it is illegal to dye a duckling blue and sell it, unless you are selling more than 6 of them at once. This is one of the strangest loopholes in American law. Selling one blue duckling makes you a criminal. Selling a half-dozen blue ducklings makes you a legitimate businessman. The law was originally intended to stop the sad sale of colored chicks and ducks as Easter novelties, as these animals often died quickly. The logic of the more than 6 exception, however, remains a complete and utter mystery. 28. The Dapper Tabby Prohibition. In Illinois, it is illegal to give a lit cigar to your dog or cat. This law is a true masterpiece of specificity. An unlit cigar? Apparently fine. A cigarette? Not mentioned. But a lit cigar, given to a household pet, is precisely where the state of Illinois draws the line. You are forced to wonder what dapper, cigar-smoking tabby cat inspired this very specific piece of legislation. It's a law that exists solely to protect pets from the bad habits of what must have been some very, very interesting owners. 29. The digital crime ring of mom. In Tennessee, it is illegal to share your streaming passwords. Yes, even with family. This law was originally aimed at hackers who were selling bulk credentials online, but its broad scope technically makes you a criminal for letting your mom binge Stranger Things on your Netflix account. So, if your cousin in Chattanooga is watching Game of Thrones on your HBO account, congratulations. You are both part of a digital crime ring. It's like a cyberpunk thriller, but with more snacks and fewer explosions. 30. The PizzaFanatic69 Felony. It is technically a federal crime to use a fake name online. This stems from the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986. The act has a broad clause against unauthorized access to a computer, which can be interpreted as violating a website's terms of service. Since most sites require you to provide accurate information, your clever pseudonym could be seen as a breach of contract. Is the FBI going to kick down your door because your Twitter handle is PizzaFanatic69? Probably not. But does the law technically give them an excuse? You bet. All you Eagle Patriot 1776 commenters, just know you're technically rebels with a cause. 31. The Digital Bandit Act. In Michigan, it's illegal to willfully and maliciously destroy a public utilities property. This law has been interpreted to include stealing Wi-Fi. If you're sitting in your car outside a coffee shop, borrowing their internet to download a movie, you are technically a digital bandit. The law treats tapping into an unsecured Wi-Fi network as a form of property destruction or theft of service. So that free internet you're enjoying isn't really free. It's just a misdemeanor you haven't been caught for yet. 32. The original fake news law. Long before the term became a political buzzword, Oregon made it illegal to create or spread false news. The law specifically prohibits communicating any false statement of fact with the intent to alarm people. While it was likely aimed at preventing old-timey pranksters from shouting fire in a crowded theater, in today's world, this law effectively criminalizes a significant portion of social media. It stands as a quaint, optimistic, and charmingly naive legal relic from a time when truth was something the law felt it could actually protect. 33. The Defacement of Lincoln. That little smiley face you drew on Abraham Lincoln? Technically a federal offense. Federal law forbids anyone who mutilates, cuts, defaces, disfigures, or perforates currency. While the Treasury Department has publicly stated they don't really care unless you have fraudulent intent, like trying to change a $1 bill into a $100 bill, the law itself is incredibly broad. This means that every time you see a "Where's George" stamp on a dollar bill, you are witnessing a casual, open act of federal law-breaking. 34. The High Heel Permit. In Carmel by the Sea, California, it is illegal for women to wear high heels over 2 inches tall without a permit. No, this is not an attempt by the state to enforce a bizarre fashion code. It is a brilliant legal maneuver to protect the city from lawsuits. Carmel's quaint, tree-lined streets are famous for their dangerously uneven pavement, a minefield for stilettos. To avoid getting sued by people who tripped, the city didn't fix the sidewalks. They just outlawed the shoes. You can, however, get a free high-heel permit at City Hall. This is a masterful bureaucratic way of saying, you've been warned. If you trip now, that's on you. 35. The Rancher-Style Appropriation Act. In Blythe, California, you are not allowed to wear cowboy boots unless you own at least 2 cows. This is a fantastic piece of legislation against cultural appropriation, rancher style. The city council apparently wanted to ensure that only true, bona fide cattle owners could rock the iconic footwear. Does this law raise practical questions? Absolutely. Are they checking deeds at the city limits? Is there a centralized cow ownership database? Almost certainly not. But it remains a hilarious attempt to keep the cowboy aesthetic authentic in a world full of urban wannabes. 36. The Waistband Police. In several towns across Florida and Louisiana, saggy pants are outlawed. These laws specifically target trousers worn below the waistline that expose underwear, effectively turning a fashion choice into a criminal offense. Proponents of these laws claim it's a matter of public decency. Critics argue it's a clear case of profiling. But whatever the motive, the result is the same. If your waistband is hanging too low, you are risking a fine. In these towns, even your pants have to follow the rules. 37. The Ugly Laws of Chicago. This one is not a joke. For decades, it was illegal to be ugly in public in Chicago. From the late 1800s until they were finally repealed in 1974, Chicago had what were known as the Ugly Laws. These ordinances made it illegal for any person who was diseased, maimed, mutilated, or in any way deformed so as to be an unsightly or disgusting object to appear in public. It was a dark and forgotten chapter of American law, explicitly designed to keep people with disabilities and visible ailments hidden away. It's a chilling reminder of how far society has come. 38. The Anti-Insurrection Mask Ban. In New York, it is illegal for 2 or more people to wear masks in public. This law wasn't written with costume parties in mind. It was drafted in 1845 to stop masked tenant uprisings. Today, this old-school anti-insurrection law awkwardly resurfaces every time someone wears a bandana at a protest, or when a group of friends hosts a superhero-themed flash mob. It represents a bizarre collision between 19th-century riot control and modern cosplay. Somewhere, Batman is already drafting his appeal to the state legislature. 39. The Used Underwear Prohibition. In San Francisco, it is illegal to clean your car with used underwear. This law is so beautifully specific, it's a work of art. Let's analyze the wording. You can, presumably, wash your car with a brand new pair of briefs, and that's fine. But the moment they have been worn, they are legally reclassified as a non-approved vehicle cleaning apparatus. This was likely passed as a public health measure for professional car washes. But the wording creates a mental image that is impossible to forget. It is a perfect solution in search of a very, very strange problem. 40. The radioactive shoe salesman. In Nevada, it is still technically illegal to use an X-ray machine to determine someone's shoe size. This isn't as random as it sounds. Back in the mid-20th century, shoe stores used X-ray fluoroscopes as a futuristic gimmick. These machines blasted customers' feet with unregulated radiation, just to show them how their bones fit inside the shoes. This was, of course, a terrible idea. The machines were eventually banned nationwide. But Nevada, in its infinite caution, felt the need to pass its own specific law against it, just in case any retro-minded shoe salesman got a bright, radioactive idea. 41. The Loitering Improvisation Act. In Minnesota, it's illegal to stand around any building without a good reason. This law targets loitering, but its magnificently vague wording invites endless, absurd interpretations. What exactly constitutes a good reason? Admiring the architecture? Waiting for your Uber? Practicing your Oscar acceptance speech? It all depends on the cop. This law effectively turns public sidewalks into a stage where your best defense is improvising a convincing alibi. Officer, I'm not loitering. I'm contemplating the economic symbolism of this hardware store. 42. The Anti-Gossip Law. In Oklahoma, you can be fined for eavesdropping. The law is wonderfully specific. It's illegal to secretly loiter about any building with intent to overhear discourse therein, and to repeat or publish the same to vex, annoy, or injure others. This is, essentially, a law against being a professional gossip. It's not just the listening that's the crime. It's the intent to listen and then spread the dirt that gets you in trouble. It is the legal system's way of looking squarely at the town busybody and saying, "Mind your own business, Brenda." 43. The Fortune Teller's Paradox. In Maryland, fortune tellers are allowed to practice their trade, but it is illegal for them to predict the future. This is a beautiful legal paradox. Under state law, individuals can get a license for fortune telling, which allows them to warn and advise clients. However, charging money to actually predict future events, like telling someone they'll win the lottery or meet a tall, dark stranger, is a finable offense. They can legally analyze your past and comment on your present, but the future, by law, must remain a tantalizing, unprophesied mystery. 44. The Monthly Atrocity. In Arkansas, a man is legally allowed to beat his wife, but only once a month. This is a horrifying and deeply disturbing law. While it is almost certainly unenforceable today due to modern domestic violence legislation, it is allegedly still on the books. It is a stark and sickening relic from a bygone era. It reflects a time when such violence was not only tolerated, but regulated with a grotesque monthly limit. This is less of a ridiculous law and more of a chilling historical artifact that we should be profoundly glad to have left behind. 45. The one eyeball rule. In Texas, it is illegal to sell your own eye. This is not a general blanket prohibition against organ trafficking. It is a specific law from the state's penal code that singles out one of your eyeballs as being off-limits for commerce. You can legally sell your blood plasma. You can sell your bone marrow. You can sell your hair. But the moment you try to put your own cornea on the open market, you've crossed a legal line. It creates a bizarre legal landscape where your body is a boutique of sellable parts, with one very specific, glassy item mysteriously not for sale. 46. The posthumous marriage certificate. In New Hampshire, if you live with someone as a couple for 3 years and tell people you're married, you legally are. But there's a catch. The state only recognizes this common law marriage in a very specific and morbid way, after one of you dies. If you've presented yourselves as a married couple, the surviving partner can then claim inheritance rights as a legal spouse. It's the state's way of saying, well, if you acted like you were married, we'll just go ahead and make it official for the paperwork. The other of this. 47. The mandatory boat ownership. In Hawaii, you can be fined for not owning a boat. This feels like the most passive-aggressive law imaginable. It doesn't apply to everyone, of course. But for residents of certain new coastal subdivisions, owning a boat is a mandatory requirement written into their property deeds and local regulations. The logic is grimly practical. In the event of a tsunami or a major flood, the boats would be essential for evacuation. It's a survival rule disguised as a mandate to have more fun in the sun. 48. The 30-day pirate life. In Georgia, you cannot live on a boat for more than 30 days during a calendar year. This law is aimed squarely at preventing people from turning the state's scenic waterways into floating trailer parks. For the free-spirited sailor dreaming of a life on the water, Georgia says, not so fast. After your 30-day trial of the pirate life is up, you are legally required to return to solid ground. It's the state's way of ensuring that living the dream doesn't involve permanently dropping anchor in their marina. 49. The full-service mandate. In New Jersey, it is illegal to pump your own gas. For the entire rest of the country, this is baffling. New Jersey is one of only 2 states where attendants are legally required to pump your gas for you. The law was enacted in 1949, originally under the guise of public safety. It has remained, however, due to overwhelming public support. It's a strange, legally enforced, full-service luxury that turns a simple task into a mandatory transaction. It makes every driver in the Garden State a spectator to their own refueling. 50. The 5-minute smooching limit. In Iowa, it is illegal for a man with a mustache to kiss a woman in public. This is a bizarre, targeted act of pogophobic legislation. But it doesn't stop there. For that matter, any public kiss in Iowa is legally limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. This is a double whammy of romantic regulation. It conjures the incredible image of a police officer, stopwatch in hand, timing a couple's embrace. One can just hear them yelling, "All right, you two, break it up. You're over your legal smooching limit." The final verdict. So, there you have it. 50 glimpses into the beautiful, chaotic, and often nonsensical legal tapestry of the United States. It's time for a final verdict. The award for the most brilliantly ridiculous law on this list has to go to Carmel, California. Their requirement for a permit to wear high heels isn't just a ban. It's a masterclass in bureaucratic jujitsu. Why? Because the city, rather than fixing their famously bumpy sidewalks, decided it was infinitely easier to reclassify a simple fashion choice as a licensed activity. This maneuver brilliantly absolves them of any and all liability. It's a law that doesn't solve the problem, but it brilliantly solves the blame. And that, in its own way, is a form of genius. From cowboy boots to sleeping bears, it's a system that proves that for every logical problem, there's an illogical law just waiting to be written.